Joining me now to discuss this is political analyst in Kabul, Fahim Sadat. Hello, sir. Thanks for joining us here today. We hope you're well.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
We've been hearing a lot of, a lot of these attacks and bombs and, terrorism, situations. But my first question really to you, sir, is have these, since the U.S. announced that it was leaving, have these increased? Have these sort of terrorism acts increased?
Yes, obviously. From February 2020, when the Taliban agreed with the U.S. in the Doha agreement that they will cease attacks on foreign troops until May 1, which was the deadline for the withdrawal, the Taliban basically diverted its attention wholly to the government, to the Afghan government, and battlefield gains, which means that the majority of the attacks that took place and which is taking place is directed towards the Afghan government and the Afghan state. And apparently this withdrawal date also encouraged other armed non-state actors to escalate attacks, which overall resulted in the increase of the attacks and in the increase of the violence, something opposite to the Doha agreement.
I understand. Actually, that was going to be my next question. I mean, a lot of these attacks that are going on, we don't know if the actual, is it the Taliban? Because sometimes they're claiming the attacks, the Taliban, and sometimes they're not. Could there be other factions in the region also involved, or could the Taliban be fractioning off, breaking apart, and having other factions to it?
As the Afghan president, Ashraf Ghani, once mentioned that there are 20 non-state actors, armed non-state actors active in Afghanistan. Prominently, the Taliban and other terrorist groups such as Al-Qaeda, Daesh, and etc., who are active, and some of them are nationally grown, and some of them are outside the territory of Afghanistan and somehow supported by our regional countries and other elements. So it's very complicated, especially when such attacks like the one which happened in the Hazara community on a school some days back, which was not claimed by the Taliban, then this adds to the complexity that if the Taliban is not doing such attacks, then there are other groups who are as powerful as somehow like the Taliban, who can challenge the state and who can challenge the security and stability of Afghanistan, even if there is a peace agreement. So apparently what other groups that come to our mind is Daesh and as well as Al-Qaeda, who are not only encouraged by the withdrawal, but they will also escalate their attacks in order to show their presence.
I understand. I mean, how's the Afghan government dealing with it? I mean, are they equipped? Are they well equipped enough to deal with these attacks, or to keep the population safe?
It largely depends on two factors. One, the Republican side, it has to show unity. It has to overcome their personal differences and agree on a national course. The more they are united, the more the government will be stronger. And second, it depends on the international community's assistance post-withdrawal withdrawal. If they keep the financial aid flowing to Afghanistan, and as well as the military aid, particularly the air power to the Afghan government in a post-withdrawal situation, these two factors will equip the government to keep the Taliban at bay and fight other terrorist groups in Afghanistan. But if we don't have a solid international assistance and as well as a factional republic, then it would be very difficult for them to keep the population safe.
That is a shame, sad to hear. I mean, there's been reports recently that the U.S. government has said that it will keep an eye on the Taliban by sort of establishing military bases in neighboring countries. how's Afghanistan and its neighbouring countries? Are the conditions well? Do they get on well? Is this something that could be do you know anything about this? That this could happen?
I think one of the major concerns that remain for the Americans still in Afghanistan is counterterrorism or the rise of Al-Qaeda. And that is a concern which is still alive. Although Al-Qaeda is degraded, it does not have the coherence it used to have once, but it's still far from being eliminated or dead. Even some analysts and some officials in the government says that it will take them one to 1.5 hours for the resurgence of Al-Qaeda. So one of the things that Afghans also are looking to in a post-withdrawal situation is the effectiveness and the efficiency of the Americans' repositioning. Means how are they going to reposition themselves in the war against Al-Qaeda and as well as in counter-terrorism, and that is something we all need to see that. And I believe if they are to reposition in Pakistan, which the geographical proximity is closer, that will add to the efficiency of their counter-terrorism activities in Afghanistan. But looking at the relationship of elements within Pakistan with such organizations as some we hear it, we also have doubts that things can get leaked or this will somehow add to the difficulty of the efficiency of counterterrorism activities led by the U.S. from the Pakistani soil. But it is at the same time important for the Americans and the international community to have a closer reach to the Afghanistan, which is obviously Pakistani soil. That will make it more effective if they are close by.
No, I understand. You know, we're always talking about the military, we're always talking about the conflict, we're always talking about the government in a sort of military role. It's a shame that we don't openly ask about what life has been like for people living in Afghanistan. I mean, the average age of Afghanistan citizens is around 18. Half of the population are so young. I mean, all they've known their whole lives are this conflict or, talks. What's it like on the ground, everyday life for people? Politics aside, how is it for people?
Afghanistan has for the last 40 years been at war, and life has been difficult. People are living in a difficult situation since long. The American withdrawal was somehow seen as a new hope for the people in Afghanistan, with them coming some sort of opportunities in terms of private sector, media, and etc. But going ahead, once again, there is the fear of possibly more chaos and a civil war if the government collapses. So people are living in an already hard situation with concerns developing every day that what would be the future of the Afghan society and people once the international troops withdraw, and what will be the consequences of such a withdrawal in a situation where the government is not still completely able to take things on their hand. So there's a life of concern and worries.
I bet.
Basically.
I bet. You know what? Thank you so much, sir, for joining us today here on A News. Fahim Sadat, analyst in Kabul, Afghanistan. Thank you, sir. We hope to have you again in the near future. We really appreciate your insights in all you're saying. Thank you very much, sir.